Every empire has a breaking point. That moment when the hustle, the identity, and the purpose all collide. When you realize it's not just about what you're building, it's about what you're becoming while you build it. This is the Hatch Point, where entrepreneurs, creators, and leaders drop the mask, share the real stories behind their rise, and explore what it means to build empires without losing your soul. So welcome back to the Hatch Point. And today's guest we have is Richie Norton.
I'm the guy.
Thanks for being here today.
I'm super excited to be here, man. It's going to be fun.
And Richie's
I'm just wondering if I should put my hair in a ponytail like yours or not.
I'm wondering if I should take it. I think I need to take it down.
We compare.
So as you can see, we're Richie's the man. I had some great thing to tell about everyone about you, but you just do it.
All right.
So every empire starts with a spark. And when you look back on your journey, when did that, tell us kind of where you created into what you are today that you're sharing.
That's a great question. And I'm an entrepreneur, and I believe that time and money can go together. I don't think you have to sacrifice one for the other. I believe that if you sacrifice what you love for success, you get neither. Mm-hmm. I believe that how you spend your time is how you show your love. I also don't believe you have to either have a job or not have a job. I think you can be deliberate about what you do. I just believe that people shouldn't lie about what they're doing. Like if you think you're going to get somewhere by doing something, I think we already know that you actually get more of what you do, not more of what you don't do. And so it does bother me that people do things that aren't the thing they want, expecting to get the thing they want. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got the chills, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's just weird. But again, it depends how far back we go. I got great parents, but I remember when I was 16 years old, I told my dad that I wanted to get a job because you want money, Do you know this story?
I don't.
Okay. And my dad's an entrepreneur, and he says what every dad shouldn't say. He said, you don't want a job, son. And I'm like, what? What dad says you shouldn't get a job? I'm like, no, Dad, I want money. And it was summertime. He says, look, your job as a kid, he said, you're going to work your whole life. He said, your job is just, get good grades and have fun. I'm like, no, Dad, but I want money. It wasn't like he was handing me all this cash or something. I still wanted to have freedom and do my thing and whatever. My plan was to go work at the county fair and pick up trash and do that, which I also did, by the way. But what he said was this. He said the weirdest thing. I'm from San Diego. He said, go to El Centro where the watermelon farmers are and ask them if you can buy the irregular sized watermelons that they couldn't sell to the grocery stores. I don't know how he knew this was a thing. And so my brother and I went down to El Centro. We took the family van, took all the seats out, took a little bit of seed money, so to speak, and we're talking $100 or something. It was nothing. I mean, comparatively to what we did. When we bought all these watermelons that were just going to go to waste. And it was so heavy, I remember in the van, that we were fully low riding, 3 hours back to where we live. And we sold those watermelons at the park, mostly to our friends' parents and to, random people walking by. And we made more money in one day than we would have made working every day during the entire summer. And so I didn't really think about it much at the time, but looking back, when you ask that kind of question, where's the spark? Looking back, I go, my dad taught me how to not trade my time for money.
I'm so grateful for this story. I'm witness. I've known my father was this, but I didn't realize the detail to the extent. But hearing your story, same thing. I grew up in San Diego.
Oh,
and Dad's like, play sports, have fun, get good at things. You get this much for gas, which wasn't enough to get to school, but have the life now, you'll work later. Same thing.
That's so cool.
It was the same thing. And I didn't realize it wasn't just the teaching to play. The teaching to play teaches, because I had similar lessons,
yes,
but you need the play aspect too. Cause I work really hard so I can have a bunch of free time.
Yeah.
And I like working hard and containers and then like playing hard.
Yep.
And I believe really after hearing that, I'm just like re-witnessing.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. When people hear this kind of stuff that you're saying and I'm saying, some people who don't either believe that or haven't experienced it, they'll say, oh, that was very lucky or what a great privilege. And you know what? Yes. And given a choice today, which we are, and I'm going to guess the majority of people listening to this podcast are not in abject poverty, not forced, but are by choice doing one thing or another. They can choose to have that mindset and teach their children to do it. Why wouldn't they be able to? When you start crossing out all the reasons they couldn't and overcome it, then it becomes like just straightforward. Do I want this or do I not? That's a different discussion. And so I think it's really important to realize that even if you don't feel like you're in that situation yet, knowing it's possible allows you to start thinking from that goal so you can rescue your dreams from the end of a timeline, bring them front and center. Kind of like living in a castle and having a moat that protects it. Why are we always just in the moat? The moat should protect and provide for our castle, our values, the way we work, the way we want to scale, the way we want to apply our specific knowledge, the way we want to be generalists, the way we want to be masters. Like living from that future self changes the way we work today.
I hear a few things in that. You're speaking to those who may want to taste what you're talking about.
Taste is a good word.
And lots of times for me, in different understandings, until I cross out the can'ts or won't works, and I find out what will, it's very hard to make a decision. And what I heard is we have to find out the data so we can get to a place where you're capable to be in choice and make the decision.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just like this impossible feat through fog. And I don't know. I could never do that. You had a great dad.
Yes. You know, and that's the challenge. People will keep telling themselves all the reason they can't, and they overemphasize can't instead of emphasizing at all the reasons they could. And I believe in asymmetrical results. I think you can do one thing and make through like a prism, like when a light shines through a prism, on the other side, it comes like a whole strobe of different colors and lights and an array of opportunities. I think you can choose that one thing. And if you do the one thing, what are the chances that all the other things you want to do also fall into place? Yeah. So I think it's really important to get clear and focused.
Yeah, clear. That was beautiful. So from your book, Anti-Time Management, flipping productivity on its head, measuring hours, not measuring hours, measuring purpose. What moment or like what was the evolution of that thought where you were like, I want to share this idea with the world and put it into a book?
Okay, I have lots of stories to tell you on that. Can I see your piece of paper for a second?
Yeah.
So let's just pretend, I'll get back to you. But I don't know if I'm doing it right on the camera, but let's pretend like if someone, just make it practical, if someone has a piece of paper like this, if they write on the left-hand side all the things they do in a day, everything, like from changing diapers to taking the trash out to doing the work to taking their kids to having a boss named Bill that hates you, all those things that you do. If you start going through it and you circle only the few that you really like and want to do, and I didn't say the ones you are good at, because talent becomes a trap. If you're good at laying bricks, your boss and yourself will tell yourself, I can only lay bricks for the rest of my life, which is not true. That's why we have career transitions. People who really like what they do feel stuck and want to move on. That's a crazy thought. But if you circle all the things you like and want to do and move them to the right-hand side, you get a clear picture of everything you're doing in a day versus how you could be living. And this list of all the things you do in a day is how you show up to the world versus all the dreams that are in your head. So when you start putting all the dreams in your head on a piece of paper on the other side, plus all the things you actually like and want to do, you can start, I call it IDO, eliminating, delegating, and outsourcing all the things you don't want to do. So they still get done unless they don't need to be done, right? And you focus all your time on what you like and want to do, and all of a sudden you free up 80% of your time, start doubling down on the things you like and want to do, and you have more time to either work on things you like, be more productive, or just have more free time. So I got that idea from honestly coaching and interviewing hundreds of people in person, more than that, over the last 10 years. But The reason it happened is because my brother-in-law lived on and off with us for 5 years in Hawaii. That's where I live. And he passed away in his sleep at the age of 21. And when that happened, it made me realize, and my wife realized that, oh, maybe we won't live to be 65, fat, rich, and retired, and then giving back to the world at the end of our journey. Maybe we don't have much time at all. And then a few years later, his name was Gavin. A few years later, we had our 4th son, and we named him Gavin after my brother-in-law, Gavin. And he brought so much joy to our lives. Like, he filled the little hole, that, or the big hole that his uncle left. But he caught something called pertussis, whooping cough. And I remember being in the hospital. They didn't know what it was at the time. And they finally figured it out. But it was too late. And my wife's on one side of his hospital bed and I'm on the other, this tiny little thing. But they had puffed him up full of liquids and wires and all this, junk. I remember a nurse came in and said, "You guys should stay the night," which was the most bizarre thing to say because obviously we were always there, 24/7. But she was trying to clue us in on the idea that he wasn't going to make it. And so that hit really hard. And I remember he took off all the little wires and took all the tubes so that I could hold him for a moment. And then I handed him to my wife, and she's in a rocking chair, just rocking him. My hands on his little heart. And we just sing him lullabies. And then we feel those last beats. And then when your son passes away and you're holding the baby, then what? And I remember, you can kind of think of this as a metaphor too, but this angel of a nurse comes in and says to my wife, "Can I rock him?" So she was able to hand him to her, and we were able to leave that hospital empty-handed. And I asked my wife later how she did that. Her name's Natalie. And she said she felt like there was another Natalie inside of her, like someone bigger, stronger, better, someone more capable than she ever was. And I think that we all have that person inside of us, that soul, but sometimes it doesn't show up until it's necessary. And then someone asked me, like, what'd you learn from your brother-in-law and your son passing away? And in this other book called The Power of Starting Something Stupid, I identified it as Gavin's Law after them, which is live to start, start to live. The idea is that every time you get a thought, if it keeps coming and you keep putting it off, it must be a stupid idea, not inherently stupid, but stupid for you because you're scared, or you have negative pride, or you're procrastinating, or you don't have enough time, education, experience, or money, or somebody else should be doing it. But if you just do that thing, even if it works or not, if you just start, if you just do it, what happens is when you live to start, you start to live means when you do that stupid idea, you really will start living on purpose. Mm-hmm. And that purpose becomes a string between who you are, I am, versus what I do. When people say, what should I do? I'll say, when you decide who you want to be, you'll know what to do. And that purpose, the goal of the goal, Aristotle called it final cause, the real reason you're doing that thing. When you live from that purpose and you make it your center, it becomes central to everything you do. Again, like a string on a kite. Sometimes people on podcasts will ask me, how did your parents raise you? And I'll say something like, I was a kite on a string. I was up there feeling like I was doing this thing, when in reality, they were down here holding the string, even though I didn't realize it. And if they would have cut it off or let it go, I just would have blown away and fallen down. So purpose, whether we have good parents or not, purpose allows us to kind of string together, align together our priorities with our projects, with the way we get paid, with the way a bunch of P's here, with the way we become prolific in what we do. And then we can have autonomy, we can have the ability, and more importantly, I think we can have the availability of space to do and decide when, how, where, why, what we do. So, that's kind of the genesis of why I share these things in the book. I think that anybody who wants to scale and make money can add money and add members, more clients, more money, go crazy. But if you do it at the sacrifice of what you really love and want, why did you do it at all? Why do you dig a hole where there no hole needed to be dug at all? Especially when you can do it now with like some machine instead of by hand, right? So it's this trade-off of choices.
Yeah.
Later, my wife and I brought in 3 foster kids. So we went from 4 kids to 3 kids to 6 kids overnight. And when they left, after 2 years of uninterrupted custody, they came into our lives by chance, by the way. This mom asked my wife to watch her kids and never came back. I think she kind of put them in our care because she knew things were happening in her life that were hard. And the foster system said, we're going to take these kids and put them in foster care and move them around because there's 3 of them and there's twins and no one can take 3 at one time. And we were not foster certified. We said, well, we'll take them. They said, you can't get paid. And we said, we don't care, what can we do? And they said, well, because she placed them in your care, we can call it kinship placement. So we did that as the mom figured out her life. It was awful that they left because we loved them. They're ours. Happy for her that she figured out some things and they moved on. We're always worried because where are they in the world? Having a son pass away, but believing you'll see him again is different than having kids who you love who are gone and you don't know how they're being treated. It's a different kind of pain. But all pain is pain, like stubbing your toe, right? It hurts your whole body. Anyways, after that, my wife, she actually had a mini stroke. I don't know if it was from the stress or what, but she lost her memory.
Wow.
She couldn't even remember her kids' names. It was wild. She got her memory back. We ended up going on this road trip to kind of gather our family back together. And I had my wife fly to New York. She was going to a conference. And I gave her a little card that says, if I forget my name, call this number. And then I'm like, oh no, she's going to forget to give him the card. You know what I mean? But she was fine because she didn't want him to stay in bed all day, even though bad things happen. Like the idea is to get better, not bitter. And when bad things happen, the idea is to assign meaning to it rather than like, what's the meaning of this, God? I don't know. But if you can assign meaning to it and assign it to be something good that you're going to become better, not bitter, then it can turn out good for you.
I mean, I would venture to say, and I think I talk about this on at least half of the podcast, when these things happen, we all believe in different things, but
sure.
Like God, universe, your higher self, your future self knows you so well and is like, as much as this sucks, I love you so deeply and I see you at your greatest. You're welcome.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And it's like really this mind game of like, but when we decipher the programming of like bad things are bad, which bad things and hard, what is the word? Like bad is interesting, bad and wrong. Like I can't imagine everything you just described going through and witnessing who you are from it all.
Well, so I love what you said, and I love how you said it, and I believe it's so true. And whether you assign it to be good or bad, you know what I mean? Who cares? What are you going to do about it? We went back to Hawaii. We ended up on the road for 6 months, just driving around, like staying wherever. No, from New York. We drove all the way from New York to San Diego in our car. Then we went down to, after all this stuff happened, as a way to huddle up our family. We went down to Mexico and rode horses, went all the way up to, because she wanted to, I don't know. We went all the way up the coast to Canada, and then eventually went back to Hawaii. And it's like, are you running away from everything? Oh no. Anybody who has kids knows that if you get in a car for any length of time, it is a disaster. It is screaming, it is crying, and all that pain is coming out at the same time, right? It was actually a way for us to huddle up, get off technology a little bit, and just kind of talk, right?
Yeah.
But when we get back to Hawaii, one of my kids is hit by a car crossing the highway. He should be dead. He was unrecognizable on the scene. And he's back. He's out there riding these huge, and I'm not exaggerating, 20, 30 foot waves in Hawaii. He's a wild man. And sometimes I wonder, like I thought once that happened, he'd be scared of life forever because, you know, scary things happen. But in reality, I feel like he thinks that he beat the car. You know what I mean? So I think it's how you look at it. It really is how you look at it.
Yeah.
And I wonder, does God hate me? All these things are happening. And then I realized, well, these happened all in isolation. They weren't strung together. They weren't like cause and effect. And then I thought, just love God unconditionally. Then you can keep your faith in something else and put your hands to work and do the thing. And that helped me go from being angry, mad, sad, woe is me, to bad things happen, I'm going to be better for it. And I think that resilient, or rather they call it anti-fragile mindset of kind of like the muscles have to be torn to be built up and get stronger. That kind of level of thinking helps you more so than saying, woe is me.
100%.
And other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, especially being a business owner, something's going on in the business. It's not functioning correctly. Like, why does this keep landing here? And it's like, why is this person allowing this? I mean, maybe we could put all the blame on that person. Also, we put that person in. Yeah. And we created the processes.
Yeah, I agree. You can blame anyone for anything.
Yep.
But if you want to change something, you have to accept some responsibility for how you're going to show up, regardless of idiots.
You know what I mean? What I teach our team is instead of trying to find out whose fault it is, let's jump into curiosity and find out what we can do here.
Yep. I love that. Yeah. And if you focus purely on business or money, you would have to assume that someone already has their life together. But who has their life together? So Stephen Covey, who was a mentor of mine, he would say efficiency is climbing the ladder. Effectiveness is making sure the ladder is on the right wall. So I like to start with, am I on the right wall? And then go up. You could focus simply on just, am I climbing this ladder effectively? Only to find out that you were actually very effective at climbing the ladder, but not effective at showing up on the other side of the right wall.
Yeah.
But when you put money and meaning together, you can become a master of your craft, because you're not just chasing money to make meaning, and you're not just working with no meaning. You can put two and two together. And people go, you can't do that. You have to do this and that. And I go, well, you can, but you have to measure for it. If you're going to measure for money, you'll make money. If you measure for time, you're going to create time. If you measure for both, you will think differently about the problem and solve for that problem, which is, can I work in a way that gives me more space?
Yeah. I don't know that I always comprehended what you're speaking about in my own version of clarity around it, but I do think there's like steps to this. For me, it was like understanding that I wanted time and where can I cut time out? And that was always a phase. And then as time went on, there was more responsibilities. It was like, it almost like you have to readdress the learning over and over and over again. It's like the spiral dynamics where it like each stage it comes back up and it's like, we're going to learn it in this new horizon. Yes.
Totally agree. Do you want to know a hack for that?
Yes.
It's actually pretty simple. It's just ask a better question, get a better answer. So if you say, like, you can ask a $1 question in the same breath you could ask a $1 million question. In fact, anybody who makes millions of dollars, you ask them, in many instances, they will say it takes just as much work for me to do a $1 million deal as it does to do a $1 deal. They may even say it's harder to do a $1 deal than it is to do a $1 million deal. So if you said to yourself, like I say, how can this work or this project or this job create time for me from the start? That would change the way you work. Instead of just assuming I have to do all this stuff and then have time. Completely changes it. So people go, how do I change my life? There's a million ways to change your life. The way you eat, the way you exercise, what you do, relationships, you can go forever. But if you think about people in the aggregate, you go, most people live their lives based on their job schedule. Be there by 9, leave by 5 or 6, 2 weeks vacation. End of story. 40 years, retire. This is the story of America. But if you change how you're paid, you will change your life more so than how much money you make. Because I know millionaires that can't decide to, on a whim, go to Europe because they have all these responsibilities. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm saying, like Covey would say, when you pick up one end of the stick, you pick up the other. So from the very beginning, where possible, if you can say, how can I do this in a way that'll help me create the goal of the goal? I don't know if I'm speaking like a crazy person, but if you think about it that way, then you actually will do it. This is why. People will say they're going to do all these steps, an entrepreneur, for example, and sell their business, only to find out that when they go to sell their business, the person buying it wants them to stay because they were integral to the business.
Yeah, heavy key man syndrome.
So you cement systems and processes in place. So if you can remove yourself as the bottleneck from the start, not only do you have more flexibility and autonomy and ultimately freedom, but the business scales bigger, faster, 100%. And better.
The reason this worked is I wasn't the bottleneck.
There you go.
And then scale, New Horizon became the bottleneck for all the growth and my ideas.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, pull me back out.
That's right.
And go coach clinics, what I love doing, makes more money and I get more time. And this place gets better because we're one to many, not just one to here.
Yes.
And yeah, it's
I love
from
that.
Personal experience.
Yes.
It's interesting how you can get sucked in to something you understand. And that's what I meant by the spiral. I think it's almost
totally.
like I want to understand this more on a deep level.
Yes. The concept is stop managing time, start prioritizing attention. If you are aware of what's happening, then you can change it. And so like in your situation, if you get to a position where you're like, this isn't for me anymore, you now have the choice to change it. Whereas most people have set it up in a way where they will say, I have no choice. And when you have no choice, you ironically choose to make bad decisions. Right? I feel like every movie, every movie, I had no choice. And you're like, yep, that's why you did that bad thing. Like, that's why you chose to do that.
That is one of the best lines I've heard in so long. Did you coin that? Or?
I just made it up right here, man.
Well, so you live in Hawaii most of the time.
I live in Hawaii and travel a lot. My family comes with me when they want to, and not if they don't. Like I've been here for a week, did a couple of speaking things. My wife's here. My kids have been out here and come and gone, and then my wife and I are going to London this week for some business stuff, and then we're going to go to Ireland for a couple of weeks and just drive around. So
how's island life like impact your global business? It seems like you have a very island perspective.
I mean, okay, that's really interesting. I haven't heard that one before.
Not like that could be taken a lot of directions on the island.
I like it. The island perspective is the best perspective. But most of my inspiration comes in the water. I'm a surfer guy. I love being in nature, so that helps. People that come to move to Hawaii are if they're not loving the culture and loving the beach as they should, they're frustrated when Walmart's an hour away, that there's that there's no restaurants except for food trucks, at least where I live in the country. That's the stuff I love.
Right.
And then from a business perspective, we live in the most, I think, geographically isolated place in the world, surrounded by water. And we have Asia on one side, the mainland, et cetera. On the other side, time zones are different. And I think it really gives opportunity to actually access the globe in a way that, ironically, a fast, busy New York may or may not allow you to. Because in those places, everyone's there and everything's happening and it's really fast. But from my experience, being in Hawaii, it lets me actually go a little slower to focus on what's most important, which allows me to go deeper, which allows me to have a greater impact.
I'm loving that.
You're asking great questions, man.
Well, it's fun that I find when it keeps coming back, like you said earlier, for me, when I've made the decision, but it's when am I implementing? The universe usually gives me reconfirmations of like, yep. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it. And yeah, it's exciting to mess things up to make them back the way you want.
I like that.
Like, I really don't think there's a right way. I just think for me, it's about am I working in alignment in my day, and am I showing up in cleanliness and in my wholeness, and not just like part of me to my people.
I like that.
And when we notice something, we adjust or we repair.
I like that. There's 2 mantras that I tell myself, also inspired by living in Hawaii and also, remotely traveling around. I've been in the last 12 months, I've been to Africa. I went to China 4 times. I've been to Europe at least once or twice. Like, how do you do all this? And you go, I don't know, man, just things come up. So, there we go. But I tell myself this, 2 things. Well, 3, START, that idea of live to start, start to live, is an acronym. START, serve, thank, ask, receive, and trust. Serve others, thank them for the opportunity to serve, earn the right to ask, be gracious in receiving the things that come back to you, instead of like saying, like in football, if there's a whole line and like a quarterback throws a ball and the receiver intentionally says, never mind, I don't want that, the crowd would go crazy. You're supposed to receive and score. That's how you thank people. And then also trust that process. So that's 1, START. The second one is time, TIME. I tell myself constantly, today is my everything. And then the third one, I tell myself literally every day, as I actually observe it, I watch the sunset and I tell myself, every sunset is an opportunity to reset. And those 3 things like kind of are guiding principles in how I decide to live my life.
Yeah, the reset one, I'm living that a lot more. It's like, it's almost like sometimes I feel as entrepreneurs, there can be this pressure. We create pressure to drive inertia. At least this is my story. And it's like, put me under pressure and let's go.
That's true.
And I don't want to lose that genius, but I want to put it into choice and be able to just activate it without needing to be everything on fire.
You hit the nail on the head, because you can work in chunks, in batches, in projects, in stacks. And some people and some businesses are just so go, go, go that they say, well, that type of energy inertia needs to be constant. But if you look at an athlete, they perform, they rest, they perform. And I think, I could be wrong, you can go look at these case studies and sciences and all this kind of stuff, but it's kind of the outcome scientifically and also the art of performance is that those who rest outperform those who don't, because they are better during the time periods when they are actually focused on the thing. I feel like, at least my goal is, when I travel, like doing this with you, I will try to get, it's not perfect, but I will try and get a year's worth of work done in a week. I wouldn't want to do that every week, but if I could do that, how many quote unquote years can I live? How many years of impact can I create?
Yeah.
It's a different way of thinking. And if you don't think that way, how could you ever do that? But if you do think that way and you don't make it happen half the time, you're still infinitely better in outcomes and results than someone else who doesn't think that way.
So that way of thinking is evolutionary, it sounds like, too. And the one piece that's really important that you said earlier is you need to know why you're doing it, or like what otherwise there you get lost in that year and a week.
Yes, that's right.
So right. What is, thank you. We'll cut out this little part right here.
Thank you. Yeah, you're good.
I had all these questions and you're just
roll with it, man. This is good stuff.
I love it. Well, what's a piece of advice Richie would give Richie at 20 years old right now?
One time I had this green old Volkswagen bus. Okay.
Did people take pictures in front of this bus?
Maybe.
At BYU Hawaii?
Probably a long time ago, yeah. And if you parked at an incline, the gas gauge would think there was no gas, even though there was, because I don't know how it works, okay? But when it goes like this and the gas goes like that, it just thinks it's empty for some reason. I don't know what's going on. So I had parked like that one time at Sunset Beach, and lo and behold, I couldn't start the car. Even though there was gas, it said it was empty. So I walked down to the gas station to see if anybody had a gas tank, or if they had one. Of course they did not. And so I'm like, oh no. But then this nice old man, he hears me and says, I have a gas tank. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to like use your gas tank or your gas. And he's like, no, I'll take you. So I'm like, okay. We get in his van, and it's immediately apparent to me when I get in, nicest guy in the world. It's immediately apparent to me that this guy is a struggling landscaper. He's a fisherman. It smells like fish. And that he was not there to fill up his gas in his car. I don't think he had enough money for that. He was there to fill up his little gas can. And he was going to use that to help me. We go over to my van, fill it up. It wasn't enough gas for my van to register that there was gas in it. I'm like, this is so bad. So we go back to the gas station, and he's filling up the little gas can again. And I go, bro, I'm going to fill up. This is why I knew his van was on empty. And so I said, I'm going to fill up your van, thank you so much. And he says, no, I didn't do this to profit. And I said, and then he said, karma. You know what I mean? He was doing it to be a nice guy. I go, well, karma is going to pay you back right now. I'm going to fill up your van and your gas can. Thank you for doing this for me. And that's exactly what I did. And I share that story in that way because if I had not received this guy's graciousness, I also could not have given to him in a way that could help him, even though it was both humiliating for me and maybe for him. And I think I would tell Richie, 20 years ago to continue or try to be way more humble, both in giving and receiving, even when you felt like it would hurt your own pride.
That's interesting when you use the word humble, because that word also, I would say, is a part of the reason why people don't receive. It's like
you're prideful.
No.
It's a pride thing.
But it's
ironically
masked.
That's right.
And I love that you pieced all those together just to kind of make us think.
And I feel like I'll use the example of like a chick in an egg. If a chick doesn't break out of its egg or hatch, it doesn't live, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like fear, negative pride, and procrastination are like an eggshell around all of us. Because when we act in fear, pride, and procrastination, we really just show up as a different person that we aren't really are.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know that. We know inside we're better than that, but outside we don't show up like that. So if you can crack out of the shell of fear, pride, and procrastination, you can be, even though it's cliche, it doesn't mean it's not true, you can be authentic. And I think if more people would just ask themselves, what would I do if I had no fear, no pride, no procrastination? Ignore the idea of how much time, education, experience, and money you have. Those things can be gained or lost and also not necessary. But internally, you can control, more or less, fear, pride, procrastination with courage.
Yeah. I'll add to it.
Yeah.
Because I imagined the chick in the egg. And I was like, all right, so the courage busts out of the egg. And I'm like, well, where does the courage come from? And I'm like, love.
That's good.
Like, because love is courageous. And I don't love the word love contextually in the world we live in now. I think it's very convoluted. Like, I love you and you love me, and that means this.
No, the pure sense of love.
Pure sense of love.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Well, I feel like that was your share to our listeners. Where can our listeners find you?
Just go to richienorton.com. If you go to richienorton.com/time, I have a free kind of like 90-day challenge on how to get your time back. I also have one called richienorton.com/76-day challenge. My son lived for 76 days. So I try to do projects in that 76-day period. I feel like around 3 months, you can kind of make anything happen. You can make any kinds of transformation happen. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the regular ones, and happy to chat and help anybody. But those are some free resources. You know, all these books and things are on everywhere on Amazon and audio and all that junk. So yeah.
Thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure to have you.
Dude, you're the man. That was so fun. I just wish I could have grown a beard out like yours while we were here. You know what I mean? I'm looking good.
So do you coach?
I do.
Bro, I love your energy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, like
thank
I've
you.
never Michelle Fawcett, she introduced me
she's
to
amazing.
your book.
Yeah.
And I think I read like half of it.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
But like the general, I did half read a lot of books.
Yeah, there's more than most people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But the concept, I'm like, oh, I resonate with this dude so much because I'm like all about no rules and like, don't do what everyone else is doing. Do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
And I'm still trying to figure out how to always do that.
Yes.
Because life's a trip. Dude, you had so many gems. My mind is just like,
oh, you're so nice.
No, because I have
thank you.
amazing minds. I've never said this. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, man,
I would love to reconnect. And
yeah, for sure.
Like,
Let's stay in touch, dude.
I would love to give back.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm sure there's all kinds of magic we can make.
I can just like inspiring. Like
Thanks,
I'm inspiring. You inspired me today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means the world, brother. It really does.
Like
Same.
I almost felt like the timing.
It was perfect timing.
Like, bro, like
what?
Oh,
I love you, man.
Like,
Thank you so much.
to the day.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I love that. That means a lot.
And I feel a lot of gratitude, and I'm just grateful that you came here. Like, we're just getting started. I'm doing big things. You've been doing big things, and it's cool, man.
Thanks, dude. Dude, I love you, man. That's so nice of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like
I appreciate that.
Like just, I want to homeschool, and I love how you show up, dude. And I am aiming.
Yeah.
But this 67 or 76.
76.
Oh, bro, I got like goosebumps when you said that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, why not?
And I can see all of the story behind it, and it's just like so powerful.
Thanks, brother.
And obviously, that was the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you. I love you, man. Thank you so much. Oh, it really, really, really means a lot. You're awesome, dude.
I would love to just find a time where I could take you out to eat sometime.
Well, yeah. Hit me up anytime.
Yeah.
And whatever you got going on, happy to chat more about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. That was awesome, bro. Thank you.
That's the first time I ever get all emotional.
Dude, I love it. Cool.
Perfect timing too. Yeah, 40 minutes.